Listen carefully, because this moment is not ordinary. What I'm about to say is not for the crowd, but for the one whose spirit is awake, the one who has been crying in silence, the one who has been carrying battles no one else could see. Woman, heaven has placed its eyes on you. God is about to do something massive in your life, and it's not next year, it's not next month, it's happening now, right now. You are standing at the doorway of divine interruption. The shaking you feel in your spirit is not confusion, it is transition. You are being moved into a realm you prayed for but never imagined would come so quickly. You see, when God is preparing to release something extraordinary, He first begins by detaching you from what you thought you needed. Some of you have been stripped of friendships, relationships, jobs, even familiar places. At first you thought it was rejection, but it was not rejection, it was preparation. God was cutting cords that were tying you to your past so He could release you into your purpose. That emotional detachment you feel right now is a divine signal. It is heaven's way of saying, daughter, you don't need that crutch anymore. Stand on what I placed in you. Many women confuse attachment with love, but attachment without alignment is bondage. You cannot hold on to everything and still expect God to pour His best into you. He separates you before He elevates you. This is why you had to let go. This is why the voices that used to matter no longer affect you. Your strength is not in how much you can hold, but in how much you can release. And here is the mystery. God is not waiting for you to prove yourself to people. He is waiting for you to detach from people so He can prove Himself through you. The moment you stop begging for validation is the very moment heaven begins to validate you. Silence has become your strength. Detachment has become your weapon. And peace has become your confirmation. Woman, understand this. Before God fills a vessel, He empties it. Before He plants a seed of destiny, He clears the soil. Before He pours the oil of purpose, He removes the residue of yesterday. That emptiness you once resented is actually the space where heaven is about to build something massive. You prayed for breakthrough, but you didn't realize that breakthrough first requires a breaking. You cannot walk into the new while clinging to the old. This is why the power of letting go is the most powerful sign that you are ready for manifestation. Detachment is not about losing, it's about gaining. It is not about weakness, it is about power. When you no longer hold on to what God has removed, you give Him permission to place in your hands what He has prepared. And hear me clearly, this is not a word for someday. This is a word for now, right now. Not when you feel ready, not when others approve, not when the conditions look perfect. Now heaven has already seen your tears, counted your battles, and measured your endurance. Your detachment is the evidence of your growth. Your peace is the proof of your maturity. And your willingness to release is the final key that unlocks the massive thing God is about to do in you. When God declares that something is about to happen in your life, He does not measure it by human calendars or earthly clocks. Divine timing is not delayed. It is not pending. It is not waiting for conditions to align in the natural. It is already set in the eternal. Many people live their lives expecting God to move someday, and in doing so, they miss the reality that His power is always present, always active, always available. When God says it is happening now, it means the shift has already been authorized in heaven, and you are stepping into its manifestation on earth. Waiting on God does not always mean inactivity. Sometimes waiting means you are already in motion, but your spirit has not yet recognized the season. The reason you feel a stirring inside you, a discomfort with where you are, a dissatisfaction with what once satisfied you, is because destiny is pulling you into the present tense of God's will. And there is a difference between preparation and delay. God does not delay what He has decreed. He prepares you to recognize it when it arrives. Every tear, every disappointment, every loss you thought was wasted time was actually part of the divine setup aligning you with the now moment. This is why you cannot compare your journey with anyone else's. Their timing is not your timing, and their season is not your season. The Lord has ordained a specific Kairos moment, an appointed time, and when it comes, nothing can hinder it. You must understand that now is not defined by the clock in your hand, but by the calendar of heaven. And when that season breaks open, it does not ask for your permission. It simply manifests because God has already spoken it into being. Emotional detachment is often misunderstood, yet it is one of the greatest demonstrations of true strength. To detach does not mean to stop caring, nor does it mean to harden your heart or live without compassion. It means you have matured to the place where your peace is no longer held hostage by people, circumstances, or unstable emotions. When you are easily shaken by rejection, controlled by approval, or driven by the fear of being alone, you remain tied to things that weaken your identity. But when you learn to detach, you declare that your value does not come from who stays or who leaves, from who applauds or who criticizes, from who accepts or who ignores. Your value comes from God alone, and in that confidence, you are unmovable. Detachment is not the absence of love. It is the presence of wisdom. It allows you to see clearly where you were once blinded by emotional need. It frees you from the chains of toxic attachments that drain your energy and keep you tied to seasons that have already expired. A woman who detaches emotionally from what no longer serves her purpose is a woman who is ready to rise into her next level. Detachment is the pruning that makes room for growth. It is the silence that protects your peace. It is the wisdom that stops you from giving your strength to places that do not honor it. This kind of strength is not loud. It does not need to announce itself. It is the quiet assurance that says, I am secure even if I stand alone. It is confidence that radiates without seeking validation. And it is this posture of inner stability that heaven looks for when preparing to entrust someone with greater responsibility and divine assignment. Before God elevates a person, he always initiates a process of separation. This is a divine principle woven throughout Scripture and life itself. Separation is never comfortable, yet it is always necessary. You cannot be lifted while still being tied to the weight of people, habits, or environments that do not align with your destiny. Just as a seed must be buried in the soil alone before it can break forth into new life, so must you endure seasons where God removes you from what is familiar so he can prepare you for what is greater. Separation feels like isolation, but in reality, it is insulation. God protecting you from influences that could contaminate your purpose. Elevation is not just about being placed higher. It is about being positioned rightly. That positioning requires clarity, and clarity cannot be found in the noise of constant attachments. God calls you away so he can speak to you directly. When Abraham was called to become the father of nations, the first instruction was separation. Leave your country, your people, and your father's household. The promise of elevation could not come until he detached from the environment that confined him. The same is true for every woman God intends to raise. When you resist separation, you delay elevation, but when you surrender to the pruning, you create space for growth. Many doors cannot open until certain relationships close. Many blessings cannot flow until certain distractions are cut off. Separation is not rejection, it is redirection. It is heaven saying, where you are cannot sustain where I am taking you. So when people walk away, when circles dissolve, when old patterns break apart, do not cling to them. Recognize that you are being strategically positioned for the next level of divine assignment. Confidence is often misunderstood as loudness, bold declarations, or visible dominance, but true confidence is far more profound. It is a quiet assurance, a deep inner knowing that you are anchored in who you are and whose you are. A woman who possesses this kind of confidence no longer begs for recognition or competes for validation because she understands that her worth is not up for negotiation. When your confidence is rooted in identity, you stop living as a reaction to others and start living as a reflection of God's intention for you. That is the kind of posture that signals readiness for the next season. Confidence without noise is strength in its purest form. It is being able to walk into a room without the need to announce yourself, yet your presence speaks volumes. It is the ability to endure storms without losing your center, because your security is not anchored in temporary things. When you reach this point, the opinions of others become whispers, incapable of shaking the foundation God has built within you. This unshakable confidence is what heaven looks for before entrusting someone with greater responsibility. For if your sense of worth still depends on the applause of people, You will not withstand the weight of true assignment. When you are confident in silence, you become immune to manipulation. You are no longer swayed by flattery, nor are you crushed by criticism. Both praise and rejection lose their power over you. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the result of detaching from unstable emotions and attaching yourself to divine truth. And when you embody this confidence, you communicate to heaven and earth alike, I am ready. That readiness is what positions you for the massive move God is about to release in your life. Before purpose can fully manifest, God often brings a season of emptiness. This is not a punishment, but a preparation, because a vessel already filled with unnecessary weight cannot carry the fullness of divine assignment. Many times the emptiness feels painful. It looks like loss, like broken relationships, like opportunities slipping away. Yet what is truly happening is that God is clearing away the clutter so that only what is essential for your destiny remains. He is making space within you for vision, wisdom, and strength that cannot coexist with the distractions of yesterday. To fulfill purpose, there must first be a stripping. Just as a tree sheds its leaves before new growth, so must a woman release what no longer serves her. You cannot pour new wine into old wineskins, and you cannot expect the oil of purpose to rest on a life filled with competing loyalties and misplaced attachments. Emptiness then becomes a sacred stage where God is able to reshape desires, renew perspective, and recalibrate your heart. It is in those moments of silence and space that He deposits clarity about who you are and where you are going. Many resist emptiness because they mistake it for abandonment. But emptiness is not abandonment, it is alignment. God is not leaving you barren. He is preparing you to be full in the right way. When He empties you of false dependencies, He fills you with resilience. When He removes unhealthy ties, He gives you discernment. When He clears out yesterday's dreams, He replaces them with heaven's vision. This is why emptiness should never be feared. It is the divine transition that moves you from being burdened by what was into being ready for what will be. Only then can you carry the fullness of purpose without compromise. Letting go is one of the hardest lessons for the human heart, yet it is also the key that unlocks transformation. Many hold tightly to the past, whether it be relationships, familiar places, or identities they have outgrown, believing that comfort equals safety. But in reality, clinging to what no longer belongs to your destiny only delays the new season God is trying to bring. The true power of letting go is found in the freedom it creates. It is the bridge between where you have been and where you are called to go. Until your hands are empty, they cannot receive what heaven intends to place in them. Letting go does not mean forgetting or dismissing what shaped you. It means you honor the past without allowing it to control your future. It means you recognize when a season has expired, and instead of resisting, you release it with grace. To hold on is to carry unnecessary weight. To release is to step into lightness and readiness. The more you let go of what drains your spirit, the more space you make for what strengthens it. This is why transformation is never about addition first. It is always about subtraction. God does not simply give you more while you are bound to what is less. He requires release before reward, surrender before supply. Letting go is an act of faith, declaring that your trust is not in what you lost, but in what God is preparing. It is the moment where your spirit says, even if I cannot see what's next, I trust the one who holds it. That act of release is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, for it shows that your confidence is no longer in people or possessions, but in divine purpose alone. There comes a time when heaven confirms that your season of testing has been fulfilled, and what follows is the season of manifestation. Many women wonder when the breakthrough will come, not realizing that the evidence of readiness is not in what you gain, but in how you respond to loss, pruning, and silence. When you can let go without bitterness, when you can walk away without resentment, when you can sit in peace, even while things around you are shifting, that is the sign you have passed the test. God never promotes on the basis of talent alone. He promotes on the foundation of character. Detachment, endurance, and peace are the proofs that you have been refined for greater responsibility. The reason manifestation happens suddenly is because God has already completed His work in you long before you see the results. What looks like waiting on earth is often heaven aligning things behind the scenes. The moment your heart aligns with His will, the release begins. That is why it feels different now. What once shook you no longer moves you. What once drained you no longer has access to your spirit. That shift within you is not just emotional maturity, it is divine confirmation. This is the season where manifestation is not postponed to tomorrow. It is happening in the now. The doors that once seemed locked are already turning on their hinges. The favor that was delayed is beginning to locate you. The opportunities that seemed far away are moving into reach. What makes this moment powerful is not just what God is about to do for you, but what He has already accomplished in you. Your peace, your detachment, and your surrender are the final signs that the promise is ready to take shape in your life. Woman, you must understand this. What God has begun in you cannot be stopped by people, hindered by circumstances, or delayed by time. Every tear you shed, every battle you endured, every moment you chose peace over chaos has been preparing you for this very hour. You are not standing at the edge of possibility. You are standing in the center of manifestation. This is the moment where heaven's intention collides with your obedience. Do not look back. Do not second guess, and do not shrink yourself to fit places God has already released you from. Stand firm, lift your head, and walk boldly. For the massive thing God is birthing in you is not a distant promise, it is a present reality. It is happening now, and nothing can stop it.